Hey, this episode of Tales from a Gemini is with my guest, Amber Balcaen. Amber Balcaen is a NASCAR race car driver. She's the first female, Canadian female, to win a NASCAR sanctioned race in America. And she was a breath of fresh air. What I loved about her is her positivity and how hard it is just to race in this series. And she's doing it all against the odds and how much she is focused on racing. Don't let the looks fool you. She's great, she's funny, and she's focused. I hope you enjoyed this episode because I sure did. That's never gets old. 1, 2, 3. Hey, it's BT with Tales from a Gemini. Thank you so much, Wyatt. I am so excited. I'm excited for all my guests. I mean, I know you guys hear me say this every week, but I love what I do, and this is not, it's not fake or whatever. I love talking to people, and this is the first guest that I've ever had that I literally was going through Instagram, and I go, I want to talk to her because she's a beautiful woman, but she races cars, and that's what did it for me. And I was reading through all her Instagram, and it's nothing but positivity, and I cannot wait to introduce you to her. This is Amber Balcaen, and she's the first Canadian female to win a NASCAR sanctioned race. Amber, how are you? Thank you so much for being part of Tales from a Gemini. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me on. I love your energy. I could feel some of your energy just through the relentlessness of the messages, and just to now be here in via Zoom person. I love people with great energy, and you got great energy.
No, you're the one with great energy. And this is how great this woman is. Okay, now I have never have met her in my life. I just went through the DMs, but it was professional, by the way. I didn't do any naughty stuff. It was professional DMs, and she has a product. It's First Form. And it was for endurance. And I'm a wannabe. I tell people right now, I'm a wannabe professional athlete. I always wanted to be a professional motorcycle racer. That's why I do a lot of cycling. And so I said, my endurance is down and I want to get my endurance better. And she endorses a product, and I said, I'm going to try it. And I used her link. I have the product and I love it. So not only am I talking to you, but I use your product, and that's how much you've had an impact on me. And I mean it from the bottom of my heart. You said, did you use my link? I said, yes, I did. And I love your product. I love it.
That's awesome. They have so many great products. We'll have to talk more about some of my other favorite products after, because there's a lot of stuff you got to get on there. If you're into athleticism and you're training hard and stuff, there's a lot of good stuff there.
I can't believe you can't tell I'm not athletic. I mean, that kind of hurts my feelings. I thought you looked at me and go, wow, this guy works out. But the fact that you said, if you're into athleticism, which means I don't think you think I work out. You looked at me and maybe you should start working out. No. That hurts my feelings, Amber. That hurts. No, so let me introduce you to, everybody knows, like, it's more, I love motorsports. That's my passion. But also, I love a great story, and I love inspiration. That's what you are. And you grew up, and tell me if we didn't grow up the same except for different countries. You grew up Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. Okay, I grew up in Muskogee, Oklahoma. But on Friday nights, what I would do is I go to the local stock car track, dirt track, watch late model dirt track racing. I missed my freshman prom to go to the stock car races, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. And what we would do is I could still smell the burning oil. I could smell the cigarettes people smoked outside back in those days, and they smoke and then popcorns, corn dogs, and sometimes if the race didn't go right, there was a fight in the pits. I mean, did you grow up in the same way?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So my dad actually races dirt late models. He still races dirt late models to this day. He's raced 3 times this year, and he's 3 for 3 on wins.
Oh, look at Daddy.
That's where I get it from.
You get it from your daddy.
I do. Oh, actually, I get it from both, because my mom grew up in a racing family. She never raced cars because at her time and age, that was when people didn't believe women should even be in the pits, never mind women be in a race car.
Wow.
So her dad never let her race, but her brothers raced, and then all my cousins raced. So my parents met at the racetrack. And so I've been going to the track since I've been in my mom's belly. So yes, every weekend was me at a dirt track. I didn't go to birthdays, or I don't even think I went to my graduation. Like, I didn't do normal kid stuff. I rather either I was racing myself, or I was traveling with my dad watching him race. For me, that was more fun to be at the races and, hang out with adults and get dirt flying in my face. And for me, that was how I grew up.
Now, when did you make that transition? Because I mean, when you're a kid, man, dad's the coolest. You want to be around dad, and the family, and being around racing and the adults. Maybe you hear a bad word, like, "Oh my God, this is great!" And then your dad win, maybe the trophy dash, and you get to ride in the car. But when did you go? I kind of want to do this, Dad.
Like ever since I remember, like even like as a little kid, like there's videos of me at like 2, 3 years old saying like, I want to race cars, I want to race cars. So I think like just being so immersed in it my whole life, it was something I had to try, I had to do. And it was something I asked my dad for over and over, let me race, let me race, let me race. And then finally at 10 years old, my mom's like, she's never going to stop asking. So we might as well let her. So at 10 years old is when I got my first go-kart. And my dad said, though, there was some stipulations if I wanted to race. I had to pay for everything myself and work on the go-kart myself. So at 10 years old, I was knocking on doors, getting my own sponsorships, selling stickers, going to swap meets with my dad, like everything I could to raise money to race. And that was 19 years ago now. So for the last 19 years, I've had to really learn how to be a businesswoman, because now I'm not looking for $500-600. Now I'm looking for millions of dollars. So the game is just a lot bigger in the NASCAR world. But I'm essentially doing the same thing I was 19 years ago, just finding sponsorship to be able to race.
Well, that's incredible. Okay, at 10 years old, and Ann, is that the reason why you're number 10?
No, I'm number 10 because my dad was number 10. Well,
Oh.
sorry, still is number 10. But yeah, I guess also because I started at 10 years old and just watching my dad be number 10 his whole life, at 10 years old, I wanted to be like my dad. So
That's so. I mean, honestly, that's so. Y'all take your daddy's girl.
Um, so I'm really close with both my parents. Like my mom is like my best friend. Like I love her so much. Me and my dad are a lot alike. So we butt heads a lot easier, but he's still like the first person I call if I need advice for something. So I wouldn't say I'm a daddy's girl because I'm really, really close to my mom, but like I'm a daddy's girl and a mommy's girl, I guess.
Well, I think that's incredible what your mom did, because they wouldn't let her race, but her family was in racing. So maybe in a way, does your mom kind of live vicariously through you?
Oh, my mom is my number one fan. Like she is my biggest supporter. She is like just so excited about everything I do. And she just her coming to my races, that's her favorite thing ever.
Okay, so now did you do any other sports, or did you try to attempt? I know it's Canada, so I'm sure you did some ice fishing, maybe some ice skating. Did you try hockey? Did you try hockey for a little bit?
No, I never tried hockey. I did do a lot of sports as a kid though. I did gymnastics, cheerleading, volleyball, dance, horseback riding,
Oh my God.
taekwondo.
Wow.
Piano's not a sport, but yeah, I did a lot when I was young, and I was average at everything. Like I
Okay.
tried hard, I was average at everything, but with racing, I loved it and I was good at it. So it kind of came to the time where I had to say no to the other sports, and I just focused solely on racing.
That's it. Okay, so okay, let's just say, if it wasn't for racing, what sport you think you would have tried to go further in?
Ooh, that's a tough question. Um, I just wasn't good enough at any of them. Like I think gymnastics, especially with the Olympics right now, and I feel like gymnastics is unbelievable. It is such an unreal sport. Like I think they're the most insane athletes. But I wasn't good enough to keep going.
Mhm.
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really cool. But I didn't have the talent for gymnastics.
And how about Taekwondo? So I guess if there's a fight in the pits, everybody would come get you, and you could take care of them.
Yeah, I think when I was a kid, my parents just heard that Taekwondo is really good for like learning discipline and respect, and so they put me in that, and it was fun. Like it's fun to break boards and stuff like that.
Okay, so when did it get to the point where, okay, you're racing now? I assume it's go karts in the beginning. I'm
Yep,
assuming. Okay,
yep.
it's go karts in the beginning. You're having fun. Now, when did you realize though, like, hey, I think I got something here, or where like it's more than just I'm doing this for now, and then it's Canada, so it starts getting cold around what, August,
Yeah,
and so I mean, so when
yeah.
when did you realize I want to do this, for not for a living, but okay, I got something here.
Yeah, so my very first race in a go-kart, I almost won. I got second, but by like this much.
Mhm,
And that's kind of, I was like, oh, like I'm actually pretty good at this kind of thing.
mhm.
And like was winning basically off the bat. And but my whole family races as a hobby. Like they do it professionally, but they still have a 9 to 5 from Monday to Friday. And so that's a lot of times what you see is kind of what you emulate or what you kind of go towards, right? And so I did that. You know, all I knew was to be a weekend racer, like a weekend local racer. So I knew that after go-karts, I wanted to race something else because I love go-karts so much. So then I raced mini sprints, and then I raced 410 sprint cars. And it was when I was racing mini sprints and 410 sprint cars where I'm like, I'm actually good at this, and I really, really love it. How could I make a career out of this? But at that time, I had just finished high school. So I went to Red River College, which is a like business administration college, got my 2-year business administration diploma. And, you know, I find a lot of times when you get older, when you're a kid, people are like, what do you want to be? Oh, I want to be an astronaut. I want to be a dancer. I want to be a singer. You have these big dreams of what you could be. And I feel like as you get older, you go through high school and you go through college, you kind of are like, oh, I guess I just have to pick something realistic. And like, you know, and it's almost like you forget that big dreamer inside of you.
Yes.
And basically I was in college, and the 2 years I was in college, I could not stop thinking about racing. That's all I could think about. And then so after that, I went back to university to get my 4-year degree. And I was like maybe 3 weeks into school, and I had my aha moment. And because I couldn't stop thinking about racing, and I'm like sitting in class at a lecture, and I'm like, what am I doing here? Like, what the F am I doing here?
You can say it.
Like, I don't want to be here. I want to be racing. And I'm like, well, then why don't I go do that? And so like, I was a little bit late to the game when it came to let's make this a profession. But because I was 21. So that day I went home to my parents. I said, I'm dropping out of university. I don't know why I'm here. I don't want to be here. I want to race cars professionally, and I want that to be my job. And they're like, do you know how hard that's going to be? And like, we don't have the money to support you. So, and I'm like, I realize it's going to be tough. I had no idea how actually difficult it's going to be. But I'm so happy that I went after it. So that same year, the NASCAR Diversity Combine reached out to me and was like, hey, have you ever thought of NASCAR? And I went down to the combine, and that's kind of what opened my eyes to what was possible. You know, it's not only stepping away from just a hobby and trying to making it a career, but stepping away from the dirt track world, which that's all I knew. I knew NASCAR to watch on Sundays, but I didn't know a ton about the industry or what teams to race for, where to move, like what level, how you go up through the ranks. And so that really opened my eyes to what was possible. And from then it was just, okay, how do I get a visa to be able to move down there because I'm Canadian? And then, you know, how do I get the sponsorship to race for a team out there and try to work my way up? So I don't even remember what you asked. I'm just going off.
No, that's fine. I like to give my guests time to talk because, I mean, I interject too much because I'm honestly, like I tell people, I'm annoying and I know that, but it's a genuine annoyance because I love my guests and I want so much to find out other things because I do my homework on you guys and I don't want to ask the same questions that you've always been asked. I want to go someplace different. And so, like, what's a NASCAR combine like? Is it like an NFL combine? I mean, do they test your 40 time? I mean, what do you do?
Yeah, it's really similar, but instead of testing our 40, you know, they're testing our lap times.
Okay.
And
what kind of cars? What kind of cars?
So they're like a stock car, like a asphalt late model.
Okay.
And they check our lap times, they check our communication with our crew, and then they do physical tests as well. So how well in shape we are, because a lot of people don't realize this, but NASCAR does require a ton of athleticism. We can lose, like I lose 5 to 6 pounds in one race. Men will lose 9 to 10 pounds in a race just from sweating. The dehydration, like what I have to do to hydrate before the race is like, it's crazy.
What do you do? Because I saw one of your posts, you did heat training. I mean, to get ready for like the hot races. And I think Bobby Allison, when he's from Alabama, when he had to get ready for Talladega, he would ride around in his car with the windows up and the heat on in the summertime. So, I mean, which is insane. So what do you do for your heat training?
Yeah, so it gets to be over 140, 150 degrees in these cars. And you have to keep in mind, we have all our safety equipment on. There's no AC or anything. It's basically like driving in your vehicle with your windows up and the heat on in 105 degree weather. So I do heat training outside, so wearing hoodies and stuff. And I'm in California right now, and it's like over 100 degrees every day. I'm not used to this heat. I'm from Canada. This is too much for me. But and then just hydration, so like Pedialyte, like liquid IVs, tons and tons of water leading up to it. Like I won't drink alcohol a couple days before either, just because I can't have any type of dehydration in my body. Like I need to be super, super hydrated. And then on race day, I have my Intraformance, which is from First Form.
Yes.
And then, yeah, Pedialyte, Gatorades, like anything with electrolytes, and hydration is key.
All that weight you guys lose makes me wonder, how fat was Tony Stewart then? If he lost all that weight and he still could win, and he was still chubby. I mean, and I love Tony Stewart's my favorite, by the way. And you know, if he hears me say it, I'll say it to his face. But I mean, I have no problem saying that. But it's like, how big that if that guy ever got in shape, he could have been astronomical. I mean, honestly, and what makes me so mad about him was he could have won Formula One. He had that kind of talent. You know what I mean? And okay, so growing up with you, what was that goal when you decided I wanted to race? What was that goal? And who did you look up to racing wise growing up in Canada? Because I mean, I don't know how you're Canadian. Were your heroes Canadian, or were they just all? I mean, were they all over the world, or were they American? Did you like strive to be? I want to be an American race. I mean, what was your goals?
Yeah, so even though I grew up in Canada, I mainly just raced in the States. So I'd race in the northern states like North Dakota, Minnesota. So my goal as a kid was always to race a 410 sprint car. I'm like, if I can race a 410 sprint car, I made it. Like, that's what I grew up watching. And they're just the most badass race cars. Like, they're so fun. They're so cool. And that's what my dad raced for a while. And then my cousins and my uncle and my grandfather all raced those as well. So that was something I just really wanted to do. And, but like I said before, my dad said, I'm not helping you financially with this, so you have to do it on your own. So my cousin, my grandparents paid for his race car. So one of like my biggest memories so far was unloading my sprint car that I had raised all the money for and paid for, and like next to my cousins. And I was like, look, I did this on my own. I just like things like that is what keeps me going throughout my career. Like the little achievements, that knowing like I did this on my own, like I earned this spot, I earned this place on the track. Like that for me is what like gets me going. Knowing that you can earn stuff.
Looking back on it now, because you're still striving and there's still setbacks, and you still, I mean, what's great is from the outside looking in, if nobody looks at your website or read your blogs, whatever, thinks, it's easy for you because you said this, and I'm not trying to be creepy or nothing, but you said this, sometimes your looks are helpful, but they can also be a hindrance. Explain that honestly, because like I said, on the outside looking in, I saw where you were lined up on the grid and kids were coming up and you're signing autographs, and it looks like you don't have a care in the world, but they don't realize, man, how much money it costs, and you got to get sponsorship. And you talked about getting screwed over one time, and I could tell, man, that really hurt, and you almost didn't want to say, I don't want to do this anymore, but you found a way to get back on that positive track. Talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, my journey in racing has been really difficult to trying to figure out how to get a visa to move to the States, to getting sponsorship, having people say they're going to sponsor me, contracts in place, and then the payments never come through. And just little situation like that happening over and over, and the heartbreak of it year after year after year. It's been a lot to go through, and there's been more days where I've wanted to quit than not, but the magic is in not quitting, because when you can the obstacles are sent there to see how bad you want it, and see how much you're willing to sacrifice and how much you're willing to work to get what you want. And racing has been my number one, my whole priority, my whole life. And I was like, I haven't came this far to fail. Failure is my biggest fear. And I'm like, I haven't come this far to fail. Like I need to achieve at least these things that I said I was going to achieve. So it's been, the last couple of years have been crap, but this year I got the big sponsor, and now I'm running in a NASCAR developmental series, and a team that I've always wanted to race for here on the West Coast. So the reason I'm here is because I just never gave up. And the thing about not giving up is you still learn those skills throughout the time. Like that time isn't wasted, even though it might seem wasted because you aren't where you are career-wise, financially, relationship-wise, whatever it might be. You're still learning so many things throughout the failures, the setbacks, the obstacles, that you're just building up information. You're building skills. You're building wisdom to use in the future. So it's not, the time's going to pass anyways. Even though you might not get exactly what you want at that moment, you're still building. And I think that that's kind of what it takes. And when you see people that have overnight success, they're not really overnight success. It's just that compound interest of everything they've put in finally coming to fruition.
The Rolling Stones said it best. You can't always get what you want, but sometimes if you try sometime, you get what you need. And
Yeah.
and when you said that, I mean, that's beautiful. And how did you avoid though getting sucked down that rabbit hole and never coming back? Because man, you know, it's like in any sport, and I say this because it's around, you know, football season here in America, and my
Mhm.
brother coaches, and we talked about, and he's got a little son, and he loves football, but he hadn't had that hit yet, that hit that makes you go, you know what, I'm gonna play basketball now, you know, that hit that changes everything. And you've had a lot of setbacks, but what kept, and I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, please do, is I think it's the promise of something and not being delivered and being anticipating, oh, here we go, sign this contract, I'm on my way, and then it gets taken out from under you, and they go, here we go again. How do you come back
Mhm.
from that? Because it's easy to say what you said, and I hear you, and it's beautiful, and I try to live by that also. But man, after a couple times, you just go, what am I doing? I mean,
Yeah.
I honestly, like, what am I doing? Where am I going? And I mean, how did you keep from getting swallowed from that black hole and be like, all right, I'm going back to Canada. I'm going curling. I don't know, but I'm just going to do it. What
Yeah.
kept you from being just, you know, sucked up with negativity?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I was kept from that black hole. I entered that black hole a few times, but it's a matter of getting out of that black hole. And I guess your question would be almost like, what, how do you keep out of that black hole or get
Yes.
out of that black hole? And for me, it's a couple things. The number one thing was the belief in my own potential. Like I really believed that I could be a great race car driver. I really believed that I'm here on this earth to show people that you don't need all the tools in the toolbox to build a life for your dreams. If you're willing to be resourceful and work hard, be dedicated, you know, resilient and persistent, that you can achieve what you set out to achieve. And I've been preaching this my whole career. And I'm like, if I don't live this out and if I don't live my truth and really go after my potential, then I've failed everyone who's followed me. I failed me. I failed my sponsors. I failed my fiance. I failed my parents. I failed everyone. And so I'm like, I have no other option but to keep going. And so I think, yeah, to answer, the belief in my own potential, and then just feeling like I have a responsibility to be that public figure for people that, you know, maybe didn't grow up with money or didn't grow up with everything handed to them or in the right situations or have had to overcome a ton of setbacks or trying to build something that might seem out of reach to them or out of reach to others, but just showing them like, look, hey, if Amber could do this after all of this and she still is achieving what she set out to, then I can do that too. So yeah, again, a potential and responsibility to others.
That's beautiful. I mean that because I mean you feel the authenticity in your statements. It's not like something you say and go, okay. I mean, I can feel that. And speaking of that, you were tested on a physical level because there was a crash that made you question everything. And because I mean, like I said, you know, this is what you want to do. This is what you want to do. You know, I'm living the dream. And then you had one that tested you mentally and physically. Talk about that because I saw that and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, honestly, I think the mental setbacks are harder than the physical setbacks, but when you get a physical setback, it can put you into a mental
Yeah.
setback.
Yeah.
So, because I had went through so much before that crash last year, I had been down in the dumps and I knew how to get out of it and I kind of knew not how to let myself get back there again. So, it wasn't as difficult because I had went through so much other stuff that I was like, I'm strong, I got this. Like, but I would be lying if I said I didn't think about quitting racing. And it was the first time ever in my life that I had said I'm done racing. But I said it the night of that injury where I was in a hospital with a neck brace on, hooked up to IVs, and like I was in the ambulance without being able to feel any of my limbs. I couldn't like feel them, I couldn't move them, nothing, and I thought I was paralyzed. And I had
Wow.
just been gotten engaged the fall before the season, and so I was like, not only am I going to be able to race again, but I'm not going to be able to walk down the aisle at my wedding. Like that, this was my first thoughts. And I'm like, is this is this all worth it, Amber? Like for, and I'm not making any money at this point. I'm still just trying to be a professional race car driver. And that, I get calls from my parents and my fiance, and I see how distraught they are and how worried they are because they just see me lying in a hospital bed. And that really made me like question things a lot. But then the next day I'm like, nope, this is one of those setbacks, Amber. You just gotta push through it.
Just
So,
hard-headed, just hard-headed Canadian, hard-headed Canuck.
That next day, I just was asking doctors, how long until I can get back in a car, and what's it going to take, and what do I got to do. And so, yeah, the recovery was like 2.5 months, and then I got back in a car.
Where does that come from? I mean, does it come from your parent, or is it a combination of your parents, or is it just organically coming from you? I mean, you talked about it, but it has to come from somewhere. I mean, where does that come from? I mean, because like I said, and I was reading it and it hit me, because if you've seen that crash, if you guys get a chance, go to YouTube, and it says, Amber Balcaen crash, and you're like, wow. I mean, you're tumbling. Those sprint cars, when sprint cars, I don't think anybody crashes worse than sprint cars. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. When they start going, man, it's ugly, and you were hanging upside down. And like I said, you're thinking you're paralyzed, and it's like, oh boy. And like I said, you just got engaged, and okay, you're gonna be, married, this and that, and all of a sudden, like you said, I can't move, I can't, and all of a sudden, it's like, okay, you know what? I was down for a little bit, but now I'm gonna get it back. And when can we get this started? Because I got to get back in the car. Where does that resiliency come from?
I think I'm addicted to racing. Like, it's my drug of choice, I always say.
Yes.
I'm so addicted to it, and it's like it's a part of me, and I just cannot imagine my life without it. And I didn't feel done. I didn't feel like this was done, and I just wanted to prove myself that I could do it. I didn't want to be done. I didn't want to feel like a failure, and so I just was like, all right, let's give it another go and just keep trying. And then that same year, that fall or that winter, is when I got this big sponsorship to go back to NASCAR racing. So
Was there like I don't know, are you a religious person? Was there a little bit of like, okay, listen, I'm not religious, but if anybody's out there, if there is a God, listen, I really need to get to, I mean, did it come to that, or you just left it to the universe? Because I like to ask that, because I just like to know, and it's just on a personal kind of tip. You know what I mean? I mean, so are you
yeah.
a religious person, or did you just throw it out there like I'm believing that I can get through this?
Yeah, I'm very spiritual. I do a lot of inner work. I'm really into self-development. Like, I read a lot of self-development books. And
What's your favorite? What's your favorite?
what's my favorite? Ooh, I would say it's hard to pick just one. One of my most, like, I feel like, useful books that I've read in the last year or so is Atomic Habits.
Oh, my producer just said,
Yeah.
I knew she was gonna say. Why'd you say that? Why'd you say that?
I don't know. That's like the one book that like I really like out of those self-development books, because it's just really useful.
Exactly. Like, you can actually take what they're telling you and apply it.
Atomic Habits.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna get, if you say it, and Wyatt says it, and Wyatt is the boy wonder. This guy's like 19, he's killing it. I mean, I look to him for my financial advice, and I'm 2 years, and I'm like 20 years older than him. I'm going, what should I do, Wyatt? And he laughs at me when I say I'm gonna invest in AMC movie theaters. He goes, no, don't do that. And
Yeah.
so if he co-signs on it, then it must be a good book. You use that, and what else?
I mean, I read books. I try to read 10 pages every single day of any self-development book. Like, once I'm done one, go to the next one. I did this program called 75 Hard, and I started in January. And it is made by the CEO of First Form, Andy Frisilla.
Okay.
And it is a mental toughness program. And essentially, for 75 days, you work out twice a day for minimum 45 minutes. One workout has to be outside, one has to be inside. They have to be a minimum 3 hours apart. You have to drink a gallon of water, read 10 pages of a self-development book a day, stick to a diet, no cheat meals, no alcohol. I know I'm missing stuff. Take a progress picture. Anyway, there's a list of things you have to do every single day for 75 days, no compromises. If you have, one bite of an ice cream and that's not on your diet, then start at day one. If you forget to drink half a gallon of water, so a gallon, you got to start. So I did this program at the beginning of January, and it was the first 75 days of the year. And it was like the best way for me to start my year. It just, if anyone is listening right now and it's a completely free program, you can find it online. There's podcasts about it. If you feel stuck, if you feel like you're struggling, if you feel like you don't have confidence or grit or self-worth, or you just need to kind of mentally toughen up, and if you feel like you're not living your full potential right now, then you need to do this program, because that's what I did. And I just felt so much more confident after. I knew I had to do something to really get my confidence up going into the race season. And it was the perfect program. It makes you feel unstoppable. It's awesome.
That's why I love having you on. I knew it was going to be. I mean, I feel inspired now. I feel like if you were my coach, I'm like, I'm ready, coach. Tell me what to do. I mean, that's how I feel. And that's when I read your thing, I was like, yes. I mean, everything you were saying, I was so on board with it. Everything was so positive and everything. Like I said, because I know, I mean, I'm an outsider looking in. I call myself Toby Tyler. I'm the kid that wanted to join the circus, and he stayed at arm's length, but he really wants to be part of the circus. So, you know, I could have had a stock car when I was like 15, but I knew I was kind of changing my likes, and so I didn't, and it always kind of haunts me. So that's why I do this, because I love racing.
Never too late.
Yeah, I mean, I love racing. Well, that's why I'm a Gemini also, because you know, I can't focus on one thing. That's why I'm always like you know, I go from subject to subject, and that's why
I have ADD, so I understand.
What are you, by the way? When were you born? What month? What month?
I'm a Pisces.
What month is that?
March 7th.
Like okay, well, happy belated.
Thank you.
That was way back.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell us, because I was, like I said, going through your Instagram, and you and your soon-to-be husband are so. If there's a perfect couple out there, you guys are in the top. You guys definitely top 5 couples of all time. I mean, there's another couple. There's a Canadian couple right now living in Canada. His name is Dylan Gray, and he and his wife. I know both of them, and they're perfect. They live in Canada, and they're perfect. And you guys might be probably 2 or 3. Tell me, he's a football player. He's also an athlete. Also, he plays for. Don't tell me. He plays. Is it Saskatchewan?
Yep.
Saskatchewan. And I don't know his position, but I'm gonna say, judging by his body, is he a wide receiver?
Nope.
Canadian cornerback. Is he a cornerback?
Nope.
Okay, what is he?
Defensive end.
A defensive end? He looks light. He looks like he's like about 220.
He's 230 right now. Usually he plays at 240.
He didn't look that big. He looks like some. But anyway, besides the fact, how did you guys meet? And by the way, you guys are beautiful together, because it's 2 athletes together, and you guys look the part of 2 couples in love. You're both fit. You both have $1 million smiles. And if I had the money, I would sponsor you guys, and you wouldn't have to do the things you're doing. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. So how did you guys meet? How'd you guys meet?
Thank you. We actually met in high school, but we're not high school sweethearts.
You didn't like him in high school? You didn't like him?
No, I thought he was super hot, but he was a little bit of a bad boy back then.
Oh, girls like the bad boys.
Yeah, and we were both in different relationships, so it wasn't our time back then. But it's cool, because I mean, that was like 12 years ago now. And as you know, from 18 to 28, you change a lot as a person. So
Okay, so when did all of a sudden you were like, okay, I mean, but when did like it turn around to like, hey, remember me from high school? Yeah, I remember you. And there's like, you want to go you want to go curling and get a poutine? I mean, when did you guys meet? I mean, as far as like romantically.
Yeah, so we have a bunch of mutual friends. So I moved to North Carolina 5 years ago, but every time I'd go back to Winnipeg, we would bump into each other. We'd see each other. And he was kind of going through a rough time with football. He got cut. I was going through a rough time with racing. I didn't have sponsorship. And so like we had seen each other a couple times when I'd go back from Winnipeg, and we just started talking as friends, you know, kind of really being there for each other, because there's not a lot of, if you're an athlete, it's sometimes hard to understand really what you're going through.
Right.
And like how much of an impact what we do has on our life and our mental health and everything like that. So we just started being there for each other as friends. And then He was kind of like, when you come to Winnipeg next?
Oh, look out.
And then I went there and we went to the lake together and we just kind of fell in love.
Oh, I think you're leaving a lot out. I mean, next thing you know, when you come to Winnipeg and we're in lake, next thing you know, we're in love. What did you leave out? I mean, was there a drunken night? You're like, I just think you were so hot in high school, but you're going out with that one girl. And I mean, what are you leaving out there, Amber? Because there's a lot.
I mean, I've always had a crush on him.
Did he always have a crush
But
on you?
yeah, I guess you could say there was a drunken night where we were both at the same place and we're like, you're cute too.
I knew it. I knew it had to be a drunken night because it was like, I hate when people skip those points of relationship. Like, and one day he was like, just kind of Winnipeg, and next thing you know, we're in love and we're getting married. Wait a minute. There's a lot of time that passed by there. I mean, he could have been in jail. You could have got him out. It could have been like Hurricane Carter, with Denzel, where he went to jail and then he marries a woman that got him out of jail.
Our full story would take like 5 hours and I didn't want to take up that much time. So
you're trying to
condense it.
You're leaving stuff out because you're probably afraid your parents are going to see like the uncensored version. It's okay.
Oh no, my parents know everything. It's more so I don't want my sponsors thinking too bad about me.
Hey, you're a racer, man. Come on, back in the day. I mean, now racing is they clean it up and it's so corporate. But honestly, I miss the days of, and I don't know if you remember this, the Daytona 500 when it was Cale Yarborough and the Allison brothers and they got in a fight on the infield after the race. Do you remember that? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I watched that live, and that's what NASCAR used to be. Yeah, you ain't got to say it like that. Okay.
I mean, they still fight now. It's just like.
What? Say it.
It's not a good fight.
Oh, okay. So if you ever got into a dust up, as we like to say, if you ever got into like heated words, like, hey, you cut me off on turn 3. No, I didn't. I gave you room to come out. No, you did. Yes, you did. And you guys get into it? Have you ever gotten into it like that?
Yeah, definitely. Because especially being a woman, men will drive us a little tougher. But like, if I give you respect, I expect respect kind of thing. And so like, there's been not many times, but there's been a couple times where I've had to go over to driver and have some choice words with him.
Oh, tell me one. Tell me one. I want to hear. Tell me.
It was a couple years ago and it was actually in California and we were starting on the front row and the guy behind me just turned me into the wall on the first lap. And I was starting on the front row. So I was really upset and it sucked. And so I went over to him and was like, the first lap, like, what are you doing? And like, you turned into me and like me and him, like we were having a heated discussion, but like, it was a discussion. We weren't throwing or like, we weren't even swearing at each other, or cussing or anything. Like we were just having a discussion and his crew guy came over to me and started swearing and freaking out on me. And I'm like, hey, this is between 2 drivers right now. Like you shouldn't be involved. And that's the only time when it gets annoying. Like if 2 drivers can talk it out and talk about the situation and whether we agree or disagree, but if you can talk it out, that's how it should be. But when the crew guys get involved and they're trying to be the tough guy, it's like, no, this is between 2 drivers. We're the ones behind the wheel. Let us talk about it. So
okay, but if it gets to that point where it's like really, really, really heated, okay, now correct me if I'm wrong, but no guy's going to hit a woman, right? I mean, seriously.
I would hope not. If not, my fiance would be taking the first flight down.
Yeah, no, but who's got your back in the pits though? If it got to that point, who's got your back?
It would be my crew, 100%.
Okay,
my crew for sure. But like, unless there are like swings, then the crew shouldn't really be involved, unless the driver's getting them directly involved. But it should just be between the drivers.
Okay. Now, when that crew guy came in, did one of your crew guys come and go, hey, you need to get to stepping? I mean, did it get to that point? No,
because they were far enough away. I don't think they saw.
Okay.
But I told them to zip it.
Oh my God. I love that. Have you ever gotten a fisticuffs ever? And maybe like a driver's girlfriend? Maybe something to you, like, little choice words? Nothing?
No, I'm a very passionate person, but I'm a pretty calm person. Like, I think that's one of like I like to say mini superpowers. I'm really good at staying calm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, cause I don't know. That's something I've worked on the past year of like just taking, cause I'm a Pisces. I know you're a Gemini, so I'm a Pisces.
Yeah.
And like Pisces are very emotional and very sensitive.
Right.
And so this last like year, I'm like, try to think more logistically instead of emotionally. And when I'm able to do that, I make better decisions and make better choices of my words and such. So yeah, I've done well at that. And so that helps me stay calm when other times people might get emotional.
Right.
So yeah, that's something I've learned over the past year, and it's been good.
Have you done yoga though? Because yoga has calmed me down a little bit, believe it or not.
No, I can't get into yoga. I need to. I've been getting to visualization, where kind of like a meditation visualization, but yoga just seems like so slow for me. Like I like getting in the gym and throwing around heavy weights and stuff like that. Yoga is a little more. I do need to try it though. I do.
Well,
I tried it a long time ago. It's been a while.
well, I know I was going to get to this later, but listen, when I race go-karts, and believe it or not, I do race go-karts still. When I race go-karts and I get in hairy situations, I think my yoga has helped me. I mean, because I've been going to the same go-kart track for the last 20 years, and I thought I wouldn't get in a certain time because I gained weight, and I thought, well, my fat ass is not going to be able to get this big. And so I had the greatest time ever in the last 20 years, about 3 weeks ago, and I feel like I'm fat, but I got the best time that I've ever had. And I think it's because my breathing and everything from yoga. And if I can do it,
For
you
sure.
can do it. So when you come, if you ever come to
Breathing
Indianapolis,
is a major thing in our sport too. So that probably could help you. Like I don't have a trainer out here, but when I'm back in North Carolina, I'll have a trainer, and he will focus just on breathing as well.
well, are you ever going to come to Indianapolis to race ever? I mean, I know you're doing the West Coast ARCA series, right?
Yeah, I think next year there's potential for that. I will be in Indiana in September for a trade show though, for my sponsor.
So it's got to be in Indianapolis, right? It's got to be Indianapolis.
I have to check my schedule. I can't remember exactly where it is.
There's nothing in this state besides Indianapolis. I mean,
Or is it?
yeah, we are. We're like the Star of Bethlehem. We really are. I mean, we're it when it comes to Indiana. We're it. There's no other town. It's got to be Indiana. It has to be Indianapolis. And if you are, it means you're right down the street.
Elkhart, Indiana.
Elkhart? Oh, my God. Man, you might as well. Well, I'm not even going to say it.
September 27th to 30th.
Oh, my God. Elkhart. Well, make sure you're packing. Are you can you carry a firearm? I know you're Canadian, but are you licensed to carry?
Is it not a nice area?
Listen, like I said, are you licensed to carry a firearm? Maybe your boyfriend should come down with you.
He's playing football.
Okay, me and Wyatt, we'll go up there and we'll escort you around.
I'll buy some pepper spray or something.
Get some bear spray. Get some bear spray. No, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. No, I think you'll be great. But I wish it was here. I would love that because I want to race you in go-karts. I mean, that's my thing is go-karts. I love go-kart racing, so I would love to.
You'd probably beat me. I have 0 road course experience.
Really?
Yeah, I only know how to turn left.
Are you serious? I would think.
Yeah.
I would think you try to be a jack of all trades because honestly, growing up loving sprints, so I would think, and just correct me if I'm wrong, you would want to be in World of Outlaw sprints. To me, that was.
I did. I raced 2 World of Outlaw shows.
Oh, who'd you race against? Was who was in it? Who was in it?
Like all the big guys, Donnie Schatz. Was Kinzer still racing at that time? I feel like he was. At least Craig was part of that.
Do you get starstruck? Do you?
Not really. I'm trying to think, like, because being in the NASCAR world, I've been able to meet a lot of them, right? Like, I mean, I filmed a show with the Bushes, with like Austin Dillon's wife. So I've met a lot of the NASCAR drivers. So I don't think I get starstruck anymore. Yeah, like, you know, Tony Stewart, like I know Tony and the people you're talking about before. Maybe like a little nervous, but not overly starstruck.
Okay.
Just more like I just get more impressed. Like I respect them.
Who's the one that really left a mark on you that you met in person? You were like, wow. I mean, that made you go, wow, as a person, maybe, and for whatever reason, it really had a profound effect on you.
It's hard to just narrow one because there's even when people ask me who's your favorite NASCAR driver, it's hard for me to say just one because there's different characteristics and aspects that I like about each of them. Mm-hmm. For Kyle Busch, for example, he knows everything that's going on within his shop, with his car, with his crew, he's so smart. He's so good. He's so talented. He's so good about looking at things in different ways. Like even when I got to work with him one day and he coached me, and I just respect his knowledge and passion for the sport. And he's just such a talented race car driver. But then with like Tony, for example, I really respect, not only him with his talent and his ability, but what he's done to now be a team owner and what he's done to give back to dirt track racing and give back to other drivers. It's hard to choose just one and be impressed by one. Kurt Busch, I was really impressed by him because he was one of the few people that sat down and I just asked him millions of questions and he answered every single one of them for me. And he was so willing to help, which I find not a lot of people in the sport are willing to actually help others when it comes to being in the industry.
And why is that?
So
why is that?
I think everyone's afraid that they're going to take each other's sponsors, take each other's teams, take each other's rides. It's a very cutthroat sport, a very cutthroat industry. And the average career of a NASCAR driver is only 4 years, which is really short. Yeah. So your opportunities are very few and far between in this sport. And I think everyone knows that, and they're just trying to protect it.
Now, when it comes to women in racing, do you guys get along, or is it the same? It's like, hey, even though she's a woman, this is a cutthroat industry, so good luck to her. But, I mean, is it like that, or do you guys team up? Because I've seen on your Instagram sometimes Pippa Mann, she'll congratulate you on something. And so how is that with the ladies that are coming? Like, I know there's, I think, Natalie Decker, and then, of course, you got Haley Deegan and a couple other drivers. So, how is that with the women?
I think it's the same as kind of in any sport. Like you have those that you're, maybe a little bit more friendly with, you know a little more, and then you have those that you just don't really have a lot of contact with or don't talk to them that often, so you don't really know them as much. Just like, if you're a football player, if you're on the D line, you probably know the D line guys better than the offensive line guys. Like, it's just like, I had a female teammate this year, so me and her became friends because we were teammates. But then, there's other, like, some girls like each other, some girls don't. It's just like any, it's just like anywhere,
You have a girl in your pit crew, oh, she thinks she cute, yeah, and then like, yeah, I understand. Now, are you like about empowering women though? If you ever get a chance and you have enough power, and would you be like make it a point that I want a female in my crew, somewhere in my crew, either to do this or that? Would you push for that if you got in a power position?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm all about empowering females, even when it comes to like, when I think about hiring people to do like PR or marketing or anything that I need help with, I always go and search for women first.
That's beautiful. And that's the way it should be. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. And that's one of the reasons, honestly, when I saw your Instagram that I wanted you on here, because I mean, I love racing across the board, but I just love it when there's that, and I know that outside factor going in, you know what I mean? It's like that, when Lewis Hamilton in Formula One or James Stewart in Supercross. I love that. I love them all, but I just love it because I know that obstacle was just a little bit more, to get into. So, and has any guy, like men, I guess in the initial beginning, did they kind of talk down to you or didn't think you were all that or whatever, and you had to show them? I mean, was there ever like, did you have to prove yourself more to somebody?
Yeah, again, it's a mix. Like some guys, some crew members, some drivers treat me completely normal, like they would anyone else. And then there are some who treat me a little bit different. But I think it all comes it just takes a little bit longer for me to earn their respect, I think, what it comes down to. But once they hear about or see how hard I've had to work to get where I am or my ability on the track, then the respect comes. Like sometimes it just takes a little bit for them to get to know me, to realize, oh, this girl's legit. She's worked her butt off to be here. She deserves to be here. She's a professional, and I'm going to treat her like a professional because she acts like one. So I think a lot of the time it takes me a little longer to be able to prove to the guys like, no, I'm in this, for the real thing. I'm not just here to say that I race cars, So I think it takes a little bit more time.
What's the overall goal for you? The overall goal, say 5 years down the line, where do you want to be?
I mean, I'd love to be in the NASCAR Cup Series. That's the ultimate goal. But truthfully, if I can get to Xfinity, I would be happy. If I'm at a point, as long as I'm at a point where I'm racing cars and I'm able to pay my bills and I'm able to influence others in a positive way, then I would consider myself successful, because that's what I want to achieve. So I'm so close to getting there. And next year, my goal is to race in the ARCA Series, and that's been my goal for a really long time. Like that was kind of my ultimate goal. I'm like, okay, if I can make it here, but I know I'll say, oh, once I make it to the ARCA Series, I'll be satisfied, but I know I won't be. Then I'm going to want to go to Xfinity. And like, every time I make a goal for myself, I put another one on top of it. But if I can race the full ARCA Menard series next year and like the national series, I'll be extremely happy. That's been my main goal. So if I can achieve that, that'd be amazing. And then look towards, maybe Xfinity the next season.
Have you exceeded your expectations on life so far?
Yes and no. Yes, in the way that when I was, a teenager, I'm like, if I could just race in the World of Outlaws, like my life would be set.
Right.
And then, so in a way I've exceeded that. But now being older, I feel like I've accomplished 5% of what I actually want to accomplish, if not less. Like, I feel like I'm here and I have like this much to go kind of thing. So, I'm definitely not where I want to be, but I feel that I'm finally making progress to getting there.
How do you not be deterred goal wise? Because I've been there, being 28, and you have goals, and all of a sudden, something happens here, and you get this way, and all of a sudden you get lost in whatever, and all of a sudden, oh, my goal was this, and then you got so. How do you stay on the straight and narrow? Because it sounds simple when you're chasing a goal, but sometimes things happen and you kind of go, like you said, growing up, you thought, hey, if I can do World of Outlaws, and all of a sudden now you're in NASCAR and it's totally different, but you're still achieving goals. And so how do you keep on the straight and narrow? How do you do it? How does Amber do it?
I think there needs to be a little level of flexibility. Like when I got in that bad crash last year, I went back to dirt track racing because I didn't have the sponsorship to race NASCAR. So I wanted to race something that I could race more often that was less expensive. But then I got the sponsorship to go back to NASCAR. So that was great. So I think you do need to be a little bit flexible, but at the same time, you have to know where the end goal is and know where you're going. And I've always had like a very straight vision of what I want and what I want to achieve. And I just keep on that track basically.
Right.
But like I said before, like it's been hard. I've had a lot of obstacles, but I just still kept that main vision. And I think you have to constantly be creative. You have to constantly be reassessing yourself, what like your work, yourself as a person, your relationships, your goals, everything. You have to constantly be reassessing to figure out how you can make your weaknesses stronger and then make your strengths even stronger than that.
What's your weakness?
My weakness is impatience.
In what way? In what way? In what way?
I just want everything to happen faster. Like I want everything now. So that's tough. But I've gotten a lot better with that. A lot better. And I think consistency is a huge thing too. Being super consistent with, you make a plan, you got to stick to that plan and be consistent with that plan. I think I could be better about consistency, and I mean, my weaknesses is always a lack of funding, but that's what I got to do for my work to, it's not, I don't, it's not a weak, it is a weakness, but it's something I have a little bit of control of, but not a lot of control of. So I just gotta keep working hard.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong on this, because I know you were on a CMT series in 2016. I think it was called, was it NASCAR Wives or something like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I saw you.
2018, I think it was.
Yeah. Okay. You had that, and then you also there was something else you did with Brian Johnson from AC/DC. And so, even though you're doing that, and you look great as a spokesman, honestly, you're a great person out front, great spokesman. You have it all. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. You have the looks, the talent, and that wholesomeness that's authentic. But something tells me when I was looking at those pictures, I go, all she wants to do is race. I mean, I could see. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. I just was looking at you and you were done up and you look beautiful, but I was thinking, she just wants to race cars. She don't want to do this dog and pony show. But I mean, am I right though? Am I right?
Yeah, 100%. And the thing is, though, the great thing about racing is it has opened so many other doors to other avenues, which have been really fun and exciting. And I'm really thankful that I've got to experience things like filming a TV show and filming a show with Brian Johnson. And the thing is, at this time, what a lot of people don't realize is as I've been chasing this dream, remember, I'm in the US on a visa that only allows me to make money through racing. Well, when I don't have the sponsorship to race full time, I'm not racing full time, so I'm not making any money. So the last 5 years have been financially a struggle as well. So for a TV show to come to me and say, hey, we want you on this TV show. We're going to pay you. And it's going to give you exposure to potentially get other sponsors. I don't think anyone would say no to that, right?
Right. You almost have to do it.
I had to. I really did. And, I was hoping it was going to help me more sponsorship. It didn't really. But I was able to finally pay my bills, through that and get the exposure. And so sometimes you are going to have to do other things that might not be exactly what you're looking for, but it's going to help you get there or help, at least pay your bills. So, and that's the thing is, I don't want people thinking that I'm in racing just for the TV side of it or any of that. I want to be a race car driver. I don't want to just say I'm a race car driver. That's who I am.
Right.
And that was just things that those are opportunities that came with this. Yeah. And thankfully opportunities that I needed at that time to help me stay on track because of all the obstacles that I had to overcome. And that's the thing too, is there would be nothing. And then I'd get an opportunity and they would kind of keep me hanging on this. I'd get a sponsor and then it would fall through. And so people are like, why haven't you, for a long time, like, they're like, why are you still at this? Why haven't you given up yet? It's like, it's because I kept getting glimmers of hope that kept me there,
And being now that you're in Southern California, where exactly in California are you? Where exactly?
Kind of like Temecula area.
Oh, I know where that is. Okay. So, but if you're and honestly, you're in Southern California, Hollywood's right down the street. And the way things are going now, you would be perfect to host shows or whatever. I mean, I just think the world is your oyster right now, and it really is. You've got the talent. I mean, you qualify on pole positions. You're not just somebody who talks about it and is a pretty face. You actually have the talent. I just wish nothing but the best for you and if not, I'm gonna tell you something. You have a career as a positive motivational speaker, and you really do. I mean, you have it all. And coming from your background, such humble beginnings, you can't help but love somebody that comes from Canada. I mean, come on, you can't hate a Canadian. I mean, come on, you guys come from the Great White North. You come down here to race, and now look, you are killing it now. And I mean it from the bottom. No, you're killing it. No, thank you and you're a fan person. You're just everything. So, I mean, I wish nothing but the best for you. Now, but here's a question for you. Now, I know that when you're going to get married, when are you going to get married exactly? What's the date?
January.
Okay. So now that it's going to be two people and you're a team, although sometimes, when it comes to marriage, like, how do you make that work along with his goals and your goals? And have you talked about that? Because that's a big thing. You get two athletes together, and there's got to be some stubbornness and there's got to be some selfishness to be an elite athlete. It's got a lot of give and take, and a lot of selfish. So how's that going to work?
I think that us both being athletes really helps with this, because to be a great athlete, you do have to have a level of selfishness. And because you need to be focused on your goals and you need to be focused on your performance and how to get better. And thankfully, that's something we both understand. So when I say I need to move to California for 3 months to focus on racing, and he has to move to Canada to play his season, we both understand that. And we both know that if we don't go for what we want now, then, we don't want to live with regrets. We don't want to live with resentment of each other, or like we can be there for each other while we're doing this. So we make it work. And we always say that, like, no matter what is thrown at us, we're like, we make this work. We make everything work. We'll just make it work. So I'm really lucky and thankful to have such a supportive partner, and I support him 1,000% on whatever he wants to do as well.
I think that's beautiful. Honestly, what I really want to do is, my goal is, I want to be in 5 years, I want this show to be like one of the top podcasts in the world, and I want to be able to interview you going, I got the winner of the Daytona 500, Amber, and I really do. I want to be like, I got the winner of the Daytona 500, the first Canadian woman to win the day. That's what I want to do, and I want us to sit down, have it in studio, and we talked about these days here when I was nobody and you were and you were close to achieving your goal, and people think, oh, you guys know each other forever. Yeah, me and Amber, we tight, and that's what I want to happen, honestly, because I want nothing but the best for you, and you're just you're a great person. Anybody that can put up with me DMing them, and I could tell, and she was getting annoyed, like, hey, I have to make sure we're on for tomorrow. Yes, I was like, okay, I felt that. So I just want to thank you for that. And
No, that's how I am too. Like I always say, like I know I'm annoying as well, but I don't really care because that's just who I am. I honestly say the same thing. Like even with my fiance, I'll text him like 20 times. I don't care. Like
well, I just want to thank you for that. And real quick, like real quick, one word answer before we get out of here. Real quick, one word answer. Okay. Which would you rather win? The Knoxville Nationals or the Daytona 500?
Daytona 500.
Oh, you're selling out from your dirt track dream. Look at you. 1 minute, all she wants to do is wear dirt track. Next thing you know, she's all fancy. Daytona 500, BT. I mean, I've given up the dirt life. I'm big time now. I don't need the dirt. Dirt. I haven't made for that.
I love the dirt life. I love the dirt life. I just it's a new chapter in my life, right? So this is the chapter that's part of it. Winning Daytona is part of that chapter.
If the opportunity arises, IndyCar.
Whew. IndyCar is another animal. Like IndyCar is almost up there with F1.
It was a yes or no, Amber. It was a yes or no, Amber. I mean, we're not talking about dissertation here. We're not at university. It was a yes or no answer. IndyCar. Chip Ganassi said, "Listen, we need a racer who's a racer, but also easy on the eyes. They're good. They're good with people. They're good with the fans. Who do we get?" And they go, "There's no one here in America." Oh, I know a Canadian. Amber, IndyCar opportunity. Would you take it? Yes or no?
Yes.
See how easy that was, Amber? See how easy that was? Okay, here we go. And this is a long shot because I know you got to be in the system, but if you had an opportunity, if F1 came calling, would you take it?
I honestly don't know if I have the balls.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
And why is that?
Do you know how good they are?
Yes. Yeah, but do you know how good you are?
Well, thank you. But like they are the most elite of the elites when it comes to motorsports.
I know, but I'm elite of the elite, and I know elite when I see elite because I'm talking to elite. And so we're two elitists talking about being elite. So I'm gonna ask you one more time, Amber. If F1 came a calling and you're elite, and I know you're elite because I'm elite, so would you take it?
Yeah, I would definitely try it. I would have to at least try. I mean, you don't know if you don't try, right?
Yes, and yes, that is so true. That is so true. And okay, and the big one, which is better, Canadian bacon or American bacon?
Canadian.
Oh, look at you. Look, okay. Pineapple on pizza for you, yes or no?
Yeah.
I bet you never got these questions before from anybody, have you?
No, it's all good.
Amber, I mean, it's from the bottom of my heart. You have been just, like I said, I look for people who are inspiring, and you inspired me through, like I said, it was nothing but your Instagram and your website and all the interviews, and it was just nothing but positivity and getting a sponsorship. And I see how hard you work from afar. And like I said, I've been around racing, and I know how hard sponsorship is, because the old joke is, how do you make a small fortune in racing? You start off with a big fortune. And that's the joke in racing.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah. So I know.
And I didn't start with big fortune, so you know how hard it is.
I know how hard it is, and I'm with you 100%. I mean, I'm a fan for life right now. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. If you ever get down to Indianapolis, please hit me up. We're going to go-kart racing, and I have no qualms of putting you into the wall because that's what I do. I'm a wannabe, and that's what wannabes do. We have to be a bully, so I have no problem doing that. But honestly, I wish nothing but the best for you. Amber Balcaen, first Canadian woman to win a NASCAR sanctioned race. Thank you so much for your time. Is there anything you want to say or anything you want to plug right now before we get out of here?
Yeah, if you guys want to follow me on social media, it's at AmberBalcaen10. I have Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, got it all on there. And I always reply to DMs, as you know. So
keep it respectful, people. Keep it respectful, because that's what I did. I kept it respectful.
Yeah, and if you guys ever need anything, feel free to reach out.
Amber, thank you so much. I wish nothing but the best for you, but I think you're going to be okay. Thank you.
And I'd actually like to plug my sponsor as well, Icon Direct. If you need any RV parts, go to icondirect.com. Any type of parts you need for your RV. It's camping season, it's summer, so check out icondirect.com.
You heard her, icondirect.com. Amber Balcaen, thank you so much. Good luck in your race. And you have a race this week, right? A race this week?
Next weekend.
Next weekend?
August 21st. Is that next weekend? Yeah, August 21st.
Okay, and where's it going to be? Irwindale?
Urbandale Speedway, and is the ARCA West race.
I am going to keep up with you, and I'm going to give you a DM like, you better win this race, girl. I don't interview losers. And that's
It's only my second ARCA West race, so we're just hoping for a solid finish.
I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that shit. I want to hear you're going to win. That's what I want to hear. You're going to get the pole position. You're going to get a front row, and then you're going to do what you Canadians do. You hear me? That's what you're going to do, girl.
I'm going to do my darn best, that's for sure.
Thank you, Amber. I appreciate you. Thanks for watching Tales from a Gemini. I appreciate you guys. And you heard Amber. Hit her up on her website and hit her up on with her sponsorship. Need RV parts. Go to
Direct.com.
icondirect.com. And like I said about this sign, thank you for watching and peace.